Hello everyone, got a match here against Wilechase using a full team of EV'd pokes at this point. I managed to get a Garchomp and a Gengar going, and those two powerful things are certainly going to help out my team. So we're facing down Chase, who hasn't really been Ivy breeding, but he basically went in and fully EV'd shit, took some random stuff, but he's kind of building up his team as he goes, I guess. Not going for the full breeding so he could get battles up faster, but let's kick it off. Lead with Klefki again, because it seems to be working well for me, and especially when I'm faced with a Lucario, a Mega Lucario at that. Getting paralysis on that thing is pretty freaking fantastic, not gonna lie, that's awesome. Unfortunately, he is super powerful, and adaptability close combat hurts a lot. So even though I'm impish, max defense, I take a lot from that. Really do. I'm going to go for the spikes just to get up a layer, and hopefully that will help me. I actually get really fortunate that he gets paralyzed, because I can set up a second layer of spikes as opposed to just one, and have that extra damage for the rest of the match, because he doesn't have a spinner, and there's no way he's getting rid of the spikes. So go for the second one. He does not get paralyzed here, meaning that I can't get up my third, but he is able to take out my Klefki. Now, I probably could have switched that thing out and saved it for later. I do actually have two ghost types on this team, Trevenant and Gengar, so it probably would have been a good idea, but I decided that I wanted to get up a second layer of spikes instead, and that's what I did. So going to Trevenant now, I could predict the switch and go for the Will-O-Wisp, which would be really nice, especially if he brings in Gliscor, because then I would bypass his poison his poison orb, what the hell? I guess this game is set in France somewhat, so that's where my accent's coming in. I decided to go for the Phantom Force instead, just to do some damage to Lucario. It had the low defense, and I was wondering maybe he would stay in and fodder it because it was paralyzed, but he does have Bullet Punch, so he's going to save that thing for later. Priority is still useful. Goes into Gengar to take that hit nicely, and I'm going to switch to Vaporeon because I'm pretty sure that nothing that Gengar has is going to threaten me whatsoever, and I can kill him with Scald/Ice Beam. So that's what I do. I'm sorry for the camera juttering up and down here. I'm at home right now, which is also why the quality isn't at 720p or anything. It's unfortunate, but that's what I have to deal with because I have my laptop with me, not my desktop. So yeah, so things are a little bit out of focus and stuff. That's why. I go for the Protect on this Greninja to find out what it's going to go for. It is a Protein Greninja, meaning that it is going to turn into the Dark type and not have the Water typing to kind of bog it down, I guess, in that sense. Unfortunately, he flinches me, which is really annoying. I don't actually have a Wish on this Vaporeon, so I can't gain my health back in any other ways than Protect with lefties, but you know, I'll try and do my best. I Protect there, very obvious Protect I was going to go for, so he takes the opportunity to switch straight into Goodra, which I actually don't know if that thing threatens me with any of his moves, so I'm going to, I believe, Protect again, and he, once again, probably sees that coming and gets the opportunity to switch to Gengar, either that, or he thought I would go to Trevenant to take a T-Ball, and then decided to go to Gengar, so he would get the double switch and have the advantage, but he goes to Gengar regardless, is able to T-Bolt me. I take it okay, not really that well, honestly, but it's as well as you can take a T-Bolt from a Gengar. I managed to get the Scald Burn, which is nice. A little bit of hacks in my favour after the flinch kind of screwed me out of HP, which was a bit annoying. But managed to speed this bit up, honestly, because he is going to be substituting on me. I'm protecting. I'm trying to wait for him to die to burn. I'm not quite sure whether he has Pain Split. Good thing, though, with my HP being low, is that he can't really abuse Pain Split. And, ladies and gentlemen, Shadow Ball is not powerful enough to kill my Vaporeon. So Chase makes a little bit of an error there because he thought I would switch out to save my Vaporeon, doesn't go for the T-Ball and thinks that Shadow Ball can cover all angles. Unfortunately for him, doesn't actually take me out, allows me to protect once again. He's really close to dying, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try, ladies and gentlemen, to get the double protect, and hopefully Vaporeon will, and it does get the double protect, allowing me to let his Gengar die to the burn, and that is pretty fantastic because Gengar's a big threat. It's a real threat in 6th gen, so getting rid of it quickly and out the way is fantastic. Now he goes into Gliscor. I switch here to my Noivern because I want to keep Vaporeon potentially to take bullet punches from the Lucario later, and I know that he's in a position where he's not going to predict or anything. He just wants to kill my Vaporeon. It's kind of pissed him off at this point, so obvious Earthquake is obvious. I get the switch to Noivern. Now, I really should have gone for the Hurricane here. I had nothing to lose because the best thing he could have done to me with Gliscor was Toxic, and just going for the Draco was a little bit of a waste because if I'd Hurricaned, I would have been able to clean out the Lucario scenario and not had to switch here and deal with its bullet punches, it just would have been dead, and I wouldn't have, had the issue with it. But such as it is, I am going to go to Vaporeon, as I said before, to take the bullet punch, and looking at how much damage it does after leftovers and potentially a protect, I could be able to finish this thing off. But I decide I'm going to go for the Scald, or the Ice Beam, sorry. I go for the Ice Beam because I was thinking maybe he would predict me to protect and go into something like Gudra to take a hit, to take the Scald, most likely. That's why I decided to go for that. And I also knew that if he stayed in, went for the bullet punch, I could live it and finish him off with an Ice Beam, which is exactly what happens. He goes into a Staraptor, which is honestly probably the most threatening thing on his team for me because it is Scarfed. And the problem with that is that though I have a Scarfed Garchomp, he also has a Gliscor. So I need to deal with Gliscor before my Scarfed Garchomp is going to be able to take the Staraptor down, because obviously can bring in Garchomp, he'll just switch straight to Gliscor and it can take all of my hits. So I'm going to eventually finally die. I go for the one last Protect there so that Chase gets extra recoil on his Brave Bird because I get more HP to my name with the lefties. So that's what I was going for. I then go to Garchomp to force him into going to Gliscor. Now, I'm not quite sure why I went to Trevenant there. I think I was making a bit of a middle ground because I wasn't 100% sure if he was going to go to Gliscor, but looking back on it, that was a pretty poor play. I should have double switched to Noivern, because then having Noivern versus Gliscor is a much more favourable matchup. I would have been able to threaten his entire team with my moveset because I have Draco, I have Hurricane, and it just would have put me in an easier position. I could have taken out his Gliscor early, and then Staraptor would not have been a problem to deal with. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I make the error in judgment, go to my Trevenant, and essentially I can't really do a whole lot to this Gliscor. He has Poison Heal, and so even though I'm getting Leech Seed on him, he's healing it back every single turn with Poison Heal, because Poison Heal is able to deal with that kind of thing, which is unfortunate. Now he goes for the U-turn here. I did see this coming, and instead of going for the Willow, that was the one I really should have. This is another fatal mistake I make. I should have gone for the Willow on this turn because I knew he was going to switch. I knew the U-turn was coming. I knew I could take it, but I decided to go for the Leech Seed instead, just to cover most of his team instead of going for the Willow. And that just kind of didn't pay off because he goes into Staraptor. If I had burned that thing, oh, my life would have been so much easier. I tell you what, guys, Staraptor would have been neutered and it would not have been a threat whatsoever. Unfortunately, I get the Leech Seed instead, and he's going to go for the U-turn. I do get the Protect off, which is nice, because I see what he's going to lock himself into. It's just U-turn, meaning I'm not afraid. I know he's going to switch again. I know he's going to go to Gliscor, so there's no point in Will-O-Wisping on that turn. The Leech Seed is the better play, even though it's not really benefiting me that much. But we're back again to this stalling kind of nature with Gliscor versus Trevenant. I don't feel like there's any point to me switching out. I mean, I guess I could have gone to Noivern there on the Earthquake, because that's the only thing he can really hit me with. He has Toxic, Earthquake, U-turn, and then I can't... Does he have Roost? I think he has Roost. I think he has Roost as well. So yeah, we get to the point where I'm basically going to die from Toxic this turn, and I know he's going to want to take advantage of that by U-turning and putting him in a better position by going out into his Staraptor. So what I do instead is I Protect on the final turn, even though I'm not really going to achieve anything by it, but I make sure that he doesn't switch his Gliscor out, meaning that I get the free switch into my Gengar next turn, allowing me to Mega Evolve, go for the Shadow Ball, and, fucking annihilate the Gliscor is what I'm thinking. So I go into Gengar, and this is where you're going to question, what the fuck are you doing? I don't Mega Evolve, and I go for a Sludge Bomb. Why that happens is because the battle timer runs out. I was thinking and considering whether he was going to switch straight to Staraptor or whether he was going to U-turn to Staraptor, and I didn't have enough time to make my move and decide. I had decided finally to Mega Evolve and Shadow Ball, but unfortunately I ran out of time, so I couldn't do that. However, what I do on this turn is I Mega Evolve and I go for the Protect. Now, the reason I have Protect on this set is the dude sent me this Uber's team which had Mega Gengar on it, and obviously the thing with the Mega Pokemon is that they don't gain their stats on the turn that they go Mega. So what you do is you Protect, get all your stats up, and now I should be able on the next one to hopefully take the Brave Bird as opposed to dying to it. Now I know he doesn't have Reckless, so I'm hoping that the Brave Bird isn't going to take me out. I'm slowing this down so that I can explain that I also put 4 defense EVs into this Gengar, which is going to be rather interesting. So as Brave Bird finally hits me, I do not die. I live with 3 HP. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not shirk those 4 EVs. I put them into defense. And look what happened. I lived the Brave Bird with the Gengar and am able to take the Staraptor out with a Sludge Bomb. Goes into Goodra. I go for the Sludge Bomb here because I got confused and I was like, oh yeah, it's super effective. But no, because Poison's super effective on Fairy, not on Dragon. Whatever. Sludge Bomb was actually the most powerful move I could have gone for there on the Goodra anyway. So I just did a solid amount of damage. I could have saved the Gengar for a little bit later, but ended up not being the case. Instead, I die, then go into my Noivern to Draco the Goodra to hell. Goodbye, Goodra. No way you're living that with Life Orb. And my Dark Knight, my favorite buddy, is doing some good stuff here. So now goes into Greninja. Funny thing about this is that Noivern is 1 base speed higher, and I am running max speed, which means I will outspeed the Greninja, and I'm able to go for the Focus Blast. It's easily going to die. This thing's kind of frail, even though my special attack has been dropped -2. I do kill it. Now the final Pokemon is Gliscor. I know that my key to winning the match is using Noivern to take Gliscor out, because all I have left is my Finferia Garchomp and my Noivern. So essentially what Chase is going to do is he's going to roost stall me with his Gliscor, because that's the only way he can potentially win the game, is by roosting and basically running the risk of getting critted by Outrage or any of my other moves on Noivern. And I'm just speeding this up because there's not really much to say about it. I'm essentially waiting for my Garchomp to die, or for my Outrage to crit him, or for something along those lines to happen, so that I can get the free switch into Noivern, go for some Hurricanes, and bring him down to a range eventually where I can Draco safely. So go into Noivern, go for some Hurricanes, and again, unfortunately, not quite enough to take him out, and he's roosting again, fishing for the freaking miss. He doesn't get it on the second one. He was hoping for the miss and went for Toxic on that turn, and it comes really much down to the wire there, because had I missed, it could have been a really close fought ending, but thankfully I didn't miss the second Hurricane. I'm able to go for the Draco on the final turn, finish off the Gliscor, and leaves me with a Noivern, battered, poisoned, bruised, but alive. And the game, that's it. 1-0, very narrow margin there, but a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed it, and Chase has definitely got to go get himself a reckless Staraptor, because that would have been his saving grace, honestly. Although, if I had made the correct play back with Trevenant and Will-O-Wisp the Staraptor in the first place, which I really should have done, then it wouldn't even have been an issue. So, you know, there's semantics and everything, and that's how it rolls. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I will try and get as many more battles out as possible. I'm hopefully going to do a series, like a mini podcast thing, where I talk about different Pokemon, get some people on to talk about it. So let me know if you're interested in that. That'll be it for today. So I'll see you guys next time in the next one. Till then, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.